Hello there everyone, this is Tyler with Truffle Shuffle, and today we're going to be talking about marinating our short ribs. You can do this honestly many days before the class. You can do this a week before if you want to and have that meat marinating. Obviously it'll get stronger, the flavor, but like at the restaurant we used to do this 3 days before we were actually going to braise it. Couple small items that I'm going to need in order to knock this out, right? I need a little bottle of red wine over here. We're using a little Aver Family Vineyards. I got an onion, some carrots, a little leek. We got our sachet items over here, little garlic, thyme, and bay leaf, and peppercorns, all right? And we got those short ribs. So basically the only equipment that we're gonna need for this, obviously I got my knife, right? And we got a large pot over here. So step one, we're gonna peel and dice our onion. So first what I'm gonna do is just cut our onion into 1-inch pieces, right? That way it stays nice and large enough while we're braising the meat, the onion doesn't break down too much, right? Whenever you're cutting your onion, carrot, and leek, we refer to this as mirepoix. Again, we're gonna keep them nice large pieces, about 1 inch. And again, the reason why we're keeping them nice and large is these vegetables are gonna end up braising for about 4 hours. So if they're cut too small, they'll actually break down and kind of disintegrate into our braise. And we wanna avoid that. So go ahead, pop those onions into a little bowl, all right? We're also gonna dice the leek into 1-inch pieces as well. So what I like to do is go ahead, split them right down the center, right? And you'll see right up top, right there, there's always gonna be some dirt, right? Just how the leek grows. So I'm just gonna give them a quick rinse. I got these guys nice and clean over here, right? We're just gonna come over here and dice these leeks, all right? And again, we're just going for nice large pieces. Now that we got our leeks diced up over here, we're gonna add those to our bowl, right? It's gonna be our little mirepoix bowl over here. And we're gonna peel and dice our carrot. You might have received either one large carrot or a couple smaller carrots, all right? If that is the case, we're gonna do the same process for both, okay? We're just gonna trim the bottom, all right? And then we're gonna trim up the tops of our carrots. Beautiful. And then we wanna peel our carrots just to make sure they're nice and clean going into that bowl of mirepoix. And so these carrots, we're gonna keep nice and large, just like our onions and our leeks, right? We're gonna keep them nice and large. That way, again, they don't break down in that braising process over here. Just like with our other vegetables, we're gonna keep them nice and large, right? So, we got our carrots diced. Next item up is we're gonna cut our short ribs into individual pieces. So I've removed them from that packaging, dabbed them dry. And so again, these are what are called English cut short ribs. So these are cut to about 4 inches wide, okay? 3 bones across. I like to place the meat side down on my cutting board. So that way the ribs are facing up. So that way I know where to cut. Find that space, place my knife right there. All right, and we're just gonna cut right down and through that short rib to get our beautiful little bone-in short rib over here, okay? So we're gonna leave them on the bone for this recipe, all right? But again, find the space in between that bone, divide it, right? We got ourselves these beautiful looking short ribs over here. Okay, so once you have them portioned up, again, you wanna go ahead, grab a little Pyrex container, right? Or any other kind of container that can fit our short ribs, okay? And go ahead, pop them in there. And it's not essential that it's like a super, super tight fitting container. Ideally it is, but even if it's not and our marinade only comes halfway up, we're gonna rotate our meat throughout the marinade. So what I like to do is start the short ribs out, meat side down, okay? So now that we have all that prep done, we're gonna go ahead and get our marinade going. So in order to do that, we're gonna take our large pot, take all that mirepoix, all right, pop it in there. We're gonna take our garlic, bay leaf, and thyme, pop it in there as well. What I like to do with the garlic is I actually like to crush it. But we're actually gonna leave the skin on the garlic, all right, to give it that nice flavor. I'm gonna go ahead and add our peppercorns in here as well. And we're gonna add that bottle of wine in. And so again, we're gonna be cooking the alcohol off of this wine. And this is one of those kind of simple techniques which, again, we like to talk about. It's all the little things that we do during the cooking process that really makes a difference. And this is one of those little things. Like, you don't have to cook the alcohol off the wine, but when you do, it makes the short ribs that much nicer of a texture. So now I'm gonna go ahead, bring this over to my stove and bring this to a boil. So we're just gonna bring this to a boil over high heat, okay? The goal here is just to cook the alcohol off of the wine. So at this point, we got our wine at a boil, okay? And so now this is an optional step. Lean back, all right? Lean it in and shake, all right? It's not gonna be as crazy of flames as you would if you had like a cognac or Madeira or something, right? And basically the idea here is you just wanna flambe that wine just until the flame subsides, right? And when the flame subsides, that lets you know that all that alcohol is cooked off. So you can see, I've got no more flames coming up. I'm gonna go ahead and turn the heat off. Now at this point, we got the heat off, right? So we wanna make sure that that marinade comes all the way down to room temperature completely. Letting it come down to room temperature too allows all those vegetables to infuse their flavor into that marinade. So that way we got that amazing depth of flavor that the marinade is gonna add to the braising process. I got our marinade nice and chilled down, right? And I'm just gonna come over here and just pour that marinade right on top of my short ribs, okay? And you wanna make sure to get all those vegetables out of there too, all right? Just come over here, grab all those vegetables and those herbs, right? Peppercorns. And as you can see, even if the marinade doesn't come all the way up on my short ribs, that's no problem. Just from time to time, if you can, if you're marinating them overnight, pop them in like this, and then when you wake up in the morning, just give them a little flip, right? That way we make sure we get all sides of that beef marinating. We're just gonna give them a little wrap with some plastic wrap. So now we got our short ribs marinating. Okay, and again, we're gonna pop them in the fridge. When you wake up in the morning tomorrow, just give them that little flip, right? And we'll be ready for our class tomorrow. So again, this is how to marinate those short ribs for our 3-part braising process. This is part 1, the marinating step. So I look forward to doing this class with you and cannot wait to get these short ribs braising, that we're eating some delicious short ribs a little bit later.